Hello everyone, and welcome to another Tekkit tutorial. This time we are covering the lava pumping station that I used inside of Carpenter Station. As you can see, I have laid out a little grid. You can check how long each side is based on the different alternating colors. This is not because this is a particularly large project, but because the placement of individual blocks inside of it is particularly precise, because this design is very compacted. So, we already have our ender chest in place, and that's vital for getting the pumped materials, in my case lava, to wherever you need it to be. We don't have anything in here, nor do we particularly need anything until we've started up. As before, I've broken down the different portions of the design into different chests. So we start with the actual main pumping section, which requires a deployer, a pump, and a tank. And the deployer goes here next to the ender chest, pointing it to its right, as it were. The tank goes next to the deployer, so it can fetch materials out of it, and the pump goes there. Now I'm building this on just like a flat stone floor for demonstration, but if you were building it, you would build it over a lake or a lava lake or something that it can pump, because otherwise you're not going to get anything. Okay, on to the next part, which is filtration, where we have a lava bucket, 2 empty buckets, and 3 filters. This is so that we can extract the necessary materials from the different spots. So we have one filter there. That's the one that's looking for empty buckets from inside of our ender chest, so they can put them into the deployer, so the deployer can fill them up with lava. And for that, we need another filter here. And this one is looking for lava buckets. And we need another one right here, next to where our steam engine's going to go, to look for an empty bucket inside of that. So you can see we've already more or less rounded up the space marked by the grid line. Next we go to fueling, which is what is used for actually powering the pump. And we can put our steam engine right here. It should point directly towards the pump. If it doesn't, you're going to need a Buildcraft metal wrench. And we have our world anchor on top. The world anchor is mostly only used if you're in a far-off chunk or if you're in the Nether, and in the Nether it will only work in SMP. But for most purposes it's handy to have around, because it means you can have the pumping station more or less anywhere. And on top of that you can have a redstone torch or a lever. You just need something there to power this steam engine, because steam engines will only start pumping when they have fuel and a redstone current. Which then brings us to transport, which requires 1 restriction tube, 2 covers, I'm using stone, you can use whatever you like, and 12 pneumatic pipes. And we join up this filter over to the ender chest, directly. We then have 2 pieces of pneumatic tube there, and the restriction tube there. So that means things should only go down this way if there's no other way for them to go. And then we have pneumatic tube leading around the corner all the way over to our steam engine. And you'll notice that the pneumatic tube is trying to join up here, so for that we need to have covers to prevent them from going back into the deployer or into this filter. A bit late at night, isn't it? That's because I'm not in creative mode. One moment. Utility. Does not allow me to do that. Right. Cheat. There. Done. Okay, so that's more or less the main functional elements of this entire setup. So now we just need to handle the control systems, which is free. Any block you can place stuff on, really. I'm using Neverbrick because it's one of my favorites. 4 red alloy wire, and a timer. If you're using it in the same world that you're retrieving it from, you can use a receiver like the global timer that's around Carpenter Station, but if you're in the Nether, that won't function, so it's best to have a timer, I've found. You need 1 piece of red alloy wire there to get the charge into that filter that's coming out of the steam engine. You need 1 here to pass power to this filter. 1 on top of the deployer, and 1 on top of the filter. And that's to get power to all 3 of the blocks here, and as well as the one over there, so that they'll actually start trying to pump. And then you just put your timer there. You can set it to more or less whatever time you like. It doesn't really matter as long as you've got something coming out here. You can of course also individually dye the different portions of this ender chest's top, so you can make it go to whatever ender chest storage you like. I generally just have it go into whatever ender chest I'm usually working on. And that is more or less the entire functional setup, but because the system doesn't have any fuel initially, it can't run dry. So that brings us to our final chest, which is ignition, which is just a lava bucket. So we stick that in here. It gets pulled out and sent into the ender chest, and it'll then get pumped directly back into the deployer, where it will start looking for some lava to pull out. And whenever it manages to find something, it will pump it straight along here into our steam engine, and if the steam engine already has fuel, it will stick around. It will just go down the restriction tube. This is best used for lava because the steam engine can use it for lava. You can use it for water as well, but you need to have some kind of external fuel service for the steam engine. Okay, so I hope you've understood how to make this. It's a fairly simplistic design. It works very well. And have a good time building it. So, I shall catch you next time.